On August 23, 1939, the world was shocked by this sensational news. Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union had signed a non-aggression pact, which we know as the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. It was a difficult decision, one that was forced upon the Soviet Union. 1933. At the time, the Soviet government was working to forge a collective security system in Europe and invited Britain and France to join efforts and oppose Hitler's plans. However, the potential allies opted for a policy of appeasement in the face of aggression, ceding territory after territory, country after country. The Soviet Union was left to oppose fascism alone. The West's calculation was simple: avoid war by directing the Nazi expansion to the east. On September 30th, 1938, in Munich, the British and French signed a shameful deal with Hitler and Mussolini, dooming the Czechoslovakian state to destruction. And yet, Moscow still hoped to form an alliance. Intense negotiations on mutual assistance went on during the spring and summer of 1939. Meanwhile, Hitler's actions clearly indicated that war could not be avoided, and Poland would be the next target. But it was the Poles who hindered the negotiation process. The Polish government was reluctant to let the Red Army through its territory to fight the German units. The hatred in Warsaw's ruling elite for the Soviet Union, their anti-Semitism, and dalliance with the Nazis all affected their judgment. The Soviet government offered to help multiple times, but this help was always turned down. The Poles hoped that the British and the French would rescue them even without the Soviet Union, but in vain. Meanwhile, London and Paris were both believing that the seizure of Poland would serve as a springboard for Berlin to move eastward. By mid-August of 1939, negotiations had finally reached an impasse. The Soviet Union had to urgently deal with its own security issues and prepare to ward off an attack in the West at a time when Japan remained a threat on its eastern borders. The country faced the prospect of waging a two-front war without allies. Under these circumstances, the Soviet government was looking to buy some time to prepare for the inevitable war. The Kremlin decided to accept Germany's proposal to start political negotiations. The Non-Aggression Pact, as well as the accompanying secret protocol, which delimited spheres of influence, yield certain strategic benefits to the Soviet Union, such as additional time to mobilize forces and move Soviet borders westward. However, Moscow had no illusions about Hitler's hatred for communism and that he would strike sooner or later. The invasion started on June 22, 1941.